Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
What's up, y'all? It is June 18th, and I have come to the realization that I have not said anything gay all month, which is super homophobic of me. And I'm so sorry for being such a terrible, terrible gay. But happy Pride Month, everybody. I haven't actually been to Pride yet, which is also super homophobic of me. Yeah, there's so much homophobic activity going on right now. The fact that I have not even mentioned Pride Month at all on the podcast is insane. So to all of my fellow gays, theys, thems, trans people, happy Pride Month. I hope you guys are having a fantastic holiday month, okay? I think it's also super homophobic that I had to work on my birthday. Yeah, because my birthday's in June, for one. And then for two, I'm gay. So I should just be disqualified from having to work, right? But apparently it doesn't work that way. Apparently we have like equal job opportunity. I don't know the word, but I was pretty bad about that, to be honest. Because literally I haven't been able to do anything gay all month, and it's very concerning. Yeah, I'm very distraught. I feel very Republican right now. No, one thing I'll never be is a Republican, actually. But anyway, my name is Kate. My name is Caitlin. You can call me Kate. I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. I am a raging homosexual, and I'm passionate about life, music, and human connection. And this is my podcast where I talk about anything and everything. Not kidding. And it's called, Dude, What Was I Talking About? Yeah, no, this month has been super not gay, which is very depressing for me. So I decided to do a whole gay episode. I wanted to go over my crazy coming out story and kind of explain to you guys how I've come to this conclusion of me being queer, lesbian. I guess I'm not queer. I'm just a lesbian. Let's be real. But yeah, let me jump right into it. So it all started on a rainy day back in. No, I'm just playing. I think I always kind of had like an inkling that I wasn't a normal girl, right? And it sounds cliche, right? But I really did. I really felt like I was not like other girls my age, and that I just wasn't quite like other girls in general, right? So when I was really young, I did have crushes on girls, but I didn't realize they were crushes. I thought I just had admiration, right, for girls my age. And, in my dance classes, social settings, even my church, and I just thought that I had admiration for these girls, I was like, oh, obviously I just admire them. And then I realized later in life, I was like, oh, that was more than admiration. That was infatuation, actually. You were obsessed, Caitlin, obsessed. Let's be real. Let's call it like it is, right? So I kind of had inklings from when I was really little. I'm talking like 7 years old, 7, 8 years old, right? And I kind of just always knew that there was something different about me. I didn't really know about lesbianism. It was kind of taboo, growing up religious and growing up in a household where it's not really talked about and you're not educated about it. So I didn't know, right? I didn't know that being gay was a thing. I didn't know lesbianism was a thing. I had no idea. But I knew that there was something strange about me. Besides the obvious, right? I'm just a weird person. We're aware of this. But I was also weird in the fact that I just didn't act like other girls, right? When girls would, playfully flirt, because you know how you do that with your friends, you hype them up and stuff. I would actually feel like really awkward about it, just because I was like, whoa, it's weird. I don't want to make her feel weird, so I'm not going to say anything because then that's going to be weird. And then it turned out that I was just being awkward and weird because I felt weird about myself, right? So I knew the whole time I was growing up, really. I saw the Toxic music video by Britney Spears and I lost my mind. I lost my marbles, for real. Yeah, that was probably one of my gay awakenings. Another one I used to play for my video game nerds, right? Final Fantasy X. Yeah, we got Final Fantasy X fans in the house because Lulu and... shoot, man, what was the other? There was Lulu and then there was Luna, right? I hope I didn't fuck that up. But my taste in women is so wide, and it has been my whole life, that I had a crush on both of them, right? I was playing that game and I was like, damn, I want both of them, for real. So And yeah, so I started like I had little Easter eggs that were dropping essentially where I was like, okay, I'm definitely not like other girls. Like I definitely look at other girls in a way that maybe other girls don't look at other girls at this point. So I started to come to that conclusion when I was 11 years old. My brother had came out, right? And I was like, dang, shoot, I think I am too, actually. I think I'm also very much into girls. But I wasn't sure, I guess, at 11. I was still like kind of unsure. When I was 9 years old, I spent a lot of time in the hospital. And I remember there was this one nurse and she was gorgeous. Okay. I was infatuated for real. And I called her the coffee nurse because I can never remember her name, but she was always drinking coffee. And it was just something that stuck in my brain, right? Because I noticed things, right? And every time that she would come in to, like, give me chemo and stuff, I would, like, lose my mind on the inside, like, internally screaming, for real. And then I also met, like, the ladies' college basketball team out here while I was in the hospital, and I had a major crush on one of them, and her name was, like, Megan or Morgan, I have no idea. But, yeah, I had Easter eggs, right? So, by the time my brother came out when I was 11, I was like, "Shit. I think I'm a little gay too," yeah. Uh-oh. And I was like, well, maybe I'm tripping. I'm only 11. I've never even kissed anybody, male or female. So how the hell would I know, right? I wouldn't know. And so I kind of gave up on the idea because I was like, well, maybe I'm not, and maybe I'm just tripping, just because he came out and I'm a little bit strange and a little weird doesn't mean that I'm gay, right? So I kind of sat on it a little bit for like a year, yeah. And then when I was about 12, I started realizing, I was like, well, now it's getting worse, right? And I'm hitting puberty and it's way worse. Like, I'm way more into girls than I am into boys. Like, my interest was into girls. I didn't really have like a desire to be like with a dude, or there wasn't any dudes that I was like, wow, I gotta date him, or I wanna hold his hand, or I wanna kiss him, or nothing like that. But I felt that way about girls. And I was like, ah, shoot. I think I'm a little gay, right? Just a little bit. Just a smidge, just a little hair. And I was very confused. And then growing up religious, it's kind of like I said, it's taboo, even though my brother came out, it still felt taboo. It felt like something that you don't talk about, and that you're not allowed to express, and you're not allowed to have questions about. And one thing I wish that would become normalized, which I know Christians and Christian nationalists and Republicans are trying to push against. But one of the things that I think would be beneficial is like LGBTQ education, so that way kids don't feel like there's something severely wrong with them. And I think that's why suicide rates and all that other stuff is very, very high within the community. It's because of A, the discrimination, but B, because there's just no education on it. So if it's not conventional, right? If it's not like the conventional way of living where you date the opposite sex and then you have babies and you get married and stuff, then you're weird, right? And I wish that we would get to a point where it is okay to have education about gay people in schools. Because you know what? People make that argument all the time, like, oh, I don't want my kids seeing that, blah, 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 right? Well, I had to see straight shit all the time. I had to take sex ed, and that's for straight people. That has nothing to do with me, right? But I still had to take the class. And I'm not even talking about sexually. I think they should just mention that not everyone is straight, and if you're not straight, it's cool. Like, if you're a dude who likes dudes, cool. If you're a chick who likes chicks, cool. I wish we would get to a point in society where that is talked about, because I would have loved that when I was younger, because I was madly confused. I had no idea what the fuck was going on, right? So then from 12 to 13, I tried to pray the gay way. Yeah, I tried the Christian way. I was like, you know what, fuck it. I'm gonna just ask God to change me, right? I was like, that's what I'm gonna do. And so I tried to do that for a solid year, and I just got gayer. Yeah. I literally kept getting even gayer, because like puberty, my period started and puberty hit, and then I was like, it's getting worse. And my desire to be with a girl is worse, right? But I tried for a whole year. I hated myself. I cried myself to sleep, the whole nine, and I just could not get myself to get it out of my mind. Like, I just really when I envisioned my life, I would look at, like, my male cousins, right? I would look at my male cousins with their wives and, their kids and stuff, and I was, like, jealous, I was like, damn, I wish I could live like that, but as the guy. I don't wanna be the girl. Like, I want to have a wife. I want to have kids, Like, I want that for me, but I don't want to be the wife. Right? I wanted to be the dad for real. Like, and I started realizing, I was like, damn, like, I'm pretty freaking gay, and it's just not getting better. So by the time I was 13, I was severely depressed about it, and I came to the conclusion, because I started critically thinking, right? And I was like, well, if God didn't want me to be gay, but I've been like this since I was 7 years old and I've known it this whole time, why would he make me gay if I'm not allowed to be gay? So maybe being gay is actually fine. Maybe being gay is okay. Shit, what a concept. Wow, wild. And so I got to the point at 13 where I just started embracing who I am slowly. So I embraced it to myself, and then I decided, me and my sister, we were gonna go hiking and stuff, and we're driving up there, and I decided I wanted to go hiking and tell her up there, because, like, what's a better setting to come out the closet than being outside, because you're hella outside the closet at that point, right? And we're driving up there, and I said, yeah, I can't exactly remember the exact words that I used, but I basically said, like, hey, sis, like, I like girls. And she was like, you like girls? And I was like, yeah, like, romantically. And she was like, are you sure? And I'm 13 at this point. And I was like, yes. And she was like, huh. And it was very silent for a minute, for like a long minute. And then she was like, well, that's cool, dude. Like, it is what it is. And I was like, oh, cool, dope. She accepts me. Like, sick. And she was also a lesbian, right? So I was like, sweet. She accepts me. That was a good person to come out to, because she's also gay, so she gets the struggle, right? So I went into all of that. And then I guess her own, I don't know if it was like her own like internalized homophobia, but she ended up coming to the conclusion that I was confused and that I was influenced to be gay because she was gay, which is not how it works. Like, that's Christian propaganda and Republican propaganda, right? Like, that's just not how it works. You can't choose your sexuality. But she felt very, like, ashamed, like it was her fault. And I felt horrible that she felt that way. So she ended up telling my siblings. I think she told my parents. I think she told everybody. And so they all just kind of thought I was confused. They were like, no, she didn't chop all her hair off. What? You gotta chop all your hair off to be gay? Like, nah, there's no way. There's no way Caitlin's gay, right? And so everybody just kind of dropped it. And then I just decided to go back into the closet, because I was like, well, there's no freaking point. Like, in talking to these people about it, they're never going to understand and they're never going to care. And I feel bad that I'm saying that, right? But it's just how I felt in the moment. I'm not saying that I feel like this about my family now. We're tight. I love my siblings. I love my parents. But at the time, I just kind of felt like alienated and like isolated from my own family, my own peers, right? And so I was like, whatever, I'll just go back into the closet. Have y'all ever seen Narnia? Remember in Narnia where Lucy comes out of the closet and she was like, holy shit, you guys gotta see what's in there. There's like a whole universe, blah, 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 blah. And they were like, you're lying? They're like, no, there's nothing in the fucking closet. You're just a kid. You're stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. That's how I felt, for real. So I just went back into the closet because I was like, you know what? The closet is safer. I'm safer here, right? I don't have to worry about anything. I don't have to explain anything to anything or anything to anybody. Excuse me. And I can just be who I need to be in there, right? I even got some boyfriends to really seal the deal, try to sell it. But I still thought of my cousins, my older cousins, and how they all had the life that I wanted, and I was just so damn jealous. And like I said, it was making me angry. It was making me like hate myself because I just wanted what they had. And I wanted it to be as normalized as it was for them. You know, they just brought their girlfriends home and everybody's like, oh, okay, hi, so and so's girlfriend. And it wasn't a big deal. And I was like, damn, I like really want that in my life. Like, that's something that's very important to me and it like weighs on me, you know? But I went back into the closet, right? So I'm in Narnia. I'm chilling. I'm hiding out. I'm getting boyfriends. I'm doing whatever I got to do. And then when I was 14, I met my first situationship, right? My first WLW situationship. And I was infatuated with this girl. I would go to school and I would give her my phone all day because she didn't have one. And I would let her use mine literally all day. And I was like, I would get off the bus and hand her my phone. And I was like, cool, just bring me back my phone at the end of the day. Like, you can have it all day. And she would have my phone all fucking day. I don't know how I did that. I guess I wasn't so addicted to social media, you know, when I was a kid, when I was 14 and shit. Because she would have my phone from the beginning of school to the end of school. I was in love with this girl. I was like, girl, you can have my soul. You can have my phone. You can have whatever you need from me, right? But she was very confusing, and it ended up, like, being, like, also my first, like, toxic WLW situation. I was only 14 years old, and there was lots more after that, trust. But it was, like, my first experience with another girl, and we kept it on the down low. Like, we didn't tell nobody. I met her dad, and he didn't know, and my family never knew about it. The only ones who knew about it were, like, me, her, and, like, a couple mutual friends. Like, we literally didn't tell anybody. But yeah, I was infatuated with that girl, for real. Like, super in love. But it's because I realized later, right, critical thinker, I realized it was the first girl to actually ever give me attention like that. That wasn't in, like, a friend type of setting. Like, it wasn't in a friend way. Like, she actually liked me, and I liked that she liked me. And so it was more so like that. It wasn't actual love, and I know that now because I've felt real love, and it was definitely more like, wow, this girl is giving me attention, and I've never gotten attention from another girl before. So I loved it. I was eating that, right? But without going into, like, a longer story, right, we break up, yeah, because, I mean, we're 14. Fuck it, of course we did. And we kept it on the low the whole time, and at the end of the school year, I had a friend, and we were in gym class, and she said, hey, Caitlin, I got a question. I was like, okay. And she said, are you bi? And I felt like that was a little bit easier than just being like, I'm hella, like, gay, like, I'm a raging homo. And I wasn't really sure. Because I've always said, and I still kind of to this day say I'm like 90-10. Like, if it's Justin Bieber, like, I'm straight. But if it's like anybody else, probably not, because I see myself with a woman, right? So, but anyway, I was like, yeah, that'll be, like, the easiest way to go, right? So I told her, I was like, yeah, I'm bi. Yeah, hell yeah. And she was like, oh, okay, yeah, that's cool. We go the whole summer. Whole summer out of school. Sweet, dope. Whole summer goes by. I go back to school my sophomore year, and everybody knew. The whole school. She had told the whole school, or at least half of it, because it was a small-ass school. So then half of the school knew, probably, and then the other half learned from the other people, because it just spread like wildfire, like, Caitlin's gay, blah, blah, blah. And I was mad. I was super pissed. I was like, you outed me to all of these people. Like, how dare you? Like, I was pissed, right? But then I really sat back and I thought about it, and I was like, wait. So at home, I have to be in the closet, but at school, I could be whoever the fuck I want to be. I could be fucking raging gay, and no one's gonna care. It doesn't seem like people cared. I had, like, a couple friends drop me, but for the most part, nobody really gave a shit. They were like, well, Caitlin's still Caitlin, she's still cool, and we don't care, right? So I was like, well, here, I could be myself. Shit. And so I just ate it up. I started wearing backwards hats. I started changing the way I dressed. I started talking different, everything. Whole nine yards, right? And that was the first time that I ever felt comfortable in my own skin, was when I was a sophomore in high school. And I started dating girls, still keeping them on the low. And then I started a relationship with this one girl, and I fell in love. I would say she was probably, like, my first love that, like, really meant something to me, right? Like, there's different types of love, and this was one of the first ones where I felt like I was actually, like, in love with this girl. And she was terrible to me, super toxic, muy tóxica, but I I felt like I finally found somebody that I was gonna stay with for a while, and we low-key did. We stayed together for, like, a year. we were on and off, though I don't know if you can count the whole year, but it was super back and forth, and I was infatuated. And all my friends knew about it, but my family still didn't. Like, I still didn't tell them nothing because I was like, there's no point because they're just going to think I'm lying, right? But then it came to a point where me and this girl were together for like so long, and I just needed to talk to somebody about it. And so I ended up cornering my mom, right? And I broke down in tears and I said, Mom, like, I think I said I'm bi, but I was like, Mom, I'm bi. And like, so I was crying, right? And my mom was like, hey, nothing shocks me anymore. And she hugged me. She's like, that's okay. Like, I already knew that. She's like, and nothing can shock me at this point. You cannot shock me. I've heard it all. She was like, she's like, I already know, and that's okay. And she hugged me, and I was like, oh, guess it was that easy. Well, me and that girl didn't end up lasting, right? So then I brought home the next girl that I dated, and I decided to just be like my cousins. I was like, you know what? They did it. They're dudes, but they did it. And so I was like, fuck it, let's do it. So I just brought my next girlfriend home and just said, yeah, this is my girlfriend. Say hi. And I had never felt freer. And then I left the Mormon religion. I left religion in general in my 20s. But I just realized, I was like, wow, I actually feel good, finally. I feel all right. I can actually, be honest about who I am and not have to feel like I'm hiding shit or I can't tell nobody or everyone's going to judge me. I just don't give a shit at this point. Like, especially now, right? Like, I am 26 years old. If you have a problem with me being gay, then that's a problem on you. That has nothing to do with me or my sexuality or how I live my life, right? So, definitely at this point in time, I'm completely comfortable being who I am. Back then, I wasn't as comfortable being who I was, and I'm sad for that girl. Like, I'm really, really sad for young Kate because I feel like she needed mentors. Like, she needed people to talk to. She needed people to lean on, and she didn't have that. And the, person that, she ended up leaning on was herself. And I feel like that's so depressing. And I feel like if I can make any gay person, any trans person, any they, them, theirs type people, if I could make everybody in the world feel like they have somebody that they can lean on, then I've done my purpose in life very well. I just want to be that person where people are comfortable coming to me and being like, hey, Kate, this problem, and they're open to me and they're talking to me about it. Or if they're like, hey, Kate, I'm fucking gay. Cool, dope, me too. Let's talk about it. Like, please, let's get it off your chest. Let's get it off my chest. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about your childhood. Let's talk about how hard that was or how hard it wasn't. Hopefully it wasn't. But for a lot of people in the community, their upbringing was very, very hard. And it was hard for them to be comfortable being themselves. And so I want everyone, straight, gay, trans, lesbian, I want everyone to feel comfortable coming to me. Like, no matter who you are, what you look like, whatever. I just want you to feel comfortable in your own skin around me because that's what I needed when I was younger, and I didn't really have that until I got older. So yeah, anyway, that was pretty much my coming out story. I hope you guys liked it. I can do more stories. I can tell you guys all about my life. I really don't care. Like, this is a candid podcast where I just go off, right? And I'll just tell you guys whatever. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I've also seen that my episodes and my podcast has reached international levels, okay? So if you're listening to this from outside of the US, welcome. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you guys for supporting me and supporting the podcast. I will drop these every Wednesday or Thursday, and we will keep this consistent and keep the ball rolling. If you guys have comments, suggestions, concerns, please let me know. Hit me up. If there's certain topics that you're more interested about, whether that's religion, whether that's being gay, whether that's life, whether that's retail, if you need me to talk about something specific, we can. I actually want to eventually get into doing viewer stories where like anyone, or listener stories, I guess, but anyone who's listening can tell me their stories and then I can relay it on my podcast. I want to get into doing stuff like that. But yeah, just let me know what kind of content you guys are looking for. This is a new podcast, so I'm always down for suggestions. And dude, what was I talking about?
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.